I got drunk one night. This lady said to me, who was sleeping next to me, "You should do a show. That was funny."
It's been a long day. Pour yourself a glass of whatever wets your whistle, sit down in your lazy boy chair, and get ready to take a trip down Community Access memory lane. Another Night was in production from 1985 through 2005. It aired every week with its crew of volunteers who loved to push the boundaries of what Community Access stood for. The show consisted of pre-recorded sketch comedy acts, live interviews, as well as musical guests. One North Main sat down with host of Another Night, Ron Van Damme, as well as its director, Steve Roy. The general manager of Brockton Community Access, Mark Lindy, was also interviewed about his memory of the program and how it reached beyond the city of Brockton and its cult following. Steve Roy, the executive director of Whitman Hanson Community Access, former director, technical wizard of Another Night, sat down with One North Main host, Newbie Ratteau, and discussed how he came to be the man who helped push the technical aspects of the show and how he felt returning for a final Another Night.
Well, I came to do it, I think, because I was doing programming over in Whitman at the time. It's where I got assigned. And I was always doing the kind of off-kilter, a little edgy and fun and creative stuff. And over in Brockton, they were kind of doing the same thing. I was kind of like jealous, you know. And there was this guy, Ron Van Damme, who had been brought in by Chris Kay, who worked in Brockton at the time. And he was doing this sort of, you know, David Letterman-y kind of, you know, the desk kind of a fun show. And I went over a couple times and watched, and I got kind of like, well, you know, I wish I could be involved in something like that. And I weaseled my way into directing the bands because, you know, I did music at the time, and the guy who was directing wasn't really musically oriented. And after I think maybe 4 or 5 episodes of doing that, I ended up kind of directing the whole show and went on to direct it for the next, so I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that.
Ron Van Damme, the host of Another Night, was found walking out of an alleyway in downtown Brockton. He managed to stumble his way to One North Main headquarters. One North Main host, Newbie Ratteau, was waiting for him outside the building, but forgot he had left his keys at home. Subsequently, they both got locked out and had to call Mandeville Locksmith to get them into the building for this interview.
There was a friend of mine, just one, who said that there's the situation where if you go down to this building, you can do your own television show. To which I said, "Oh."
But first, as you know, there are things that are going on all over the area here this weekend. Yeah. Even if we have to make them up. So if you're going out this weekend, you might want to try these things.
It wasn't the usual 2 guests in a plant kind of a show, you know. We tried to push beyond that into something a little bizarre. And I'm sure if you look back at the Another Night tapes, you'll find a few bizarre moments here and there.
I'm totally burnt. I can't write anything but bathroom jokes anymore.
You're still
I'm mad at you because you don't know black from black.
You dumped her and I went for her.
I did dump her.
Stop chasing me.
My outfit, by the way, do I look lovely? To keep the banana? Hey, Dad is my darling. Love that shirt. Where'd you get it?
And it was a joy working with them because they always came up with, you know, insane, crazy stuff. And I especially like the stuff, again, that sort of pushed the technical envelope. How can we make the picture do this, Steve? And I'd enjoy doing that.
They were creative. They really came up with their own material all the time.
Mark Lindy, the general manager of Brockton Community Access, recalled hearing about the antics of Another Night back when he worked for Foxborough Community Access.
They pushed every limit, every envelope they possibly could because it was an entertainment variety show, comedy show, everything all rolled into one. And this was at the same time, Ron at one point was president of BCCT. He was the president of the board of directors. So he was helping us with, you know, the organizational stuff while at the same time producing a weekly show that took a tremendous amount of effort to do.
850 episodes. Thanks.
A man who gave 20 plus years to Brockton Cable, and all he has to show for it is a souvenir Grecian Melodies t-shirt. Here's Ron Van Damme!
Wow! Wow! Wow!
Yeah. We didn't stop at 8:49. We died at 8:49. We faded at 8:49. I didn't know it was 8:49. And that's kind of interesting that I found out that it was. We just stopped doing them. About 3 years prior, Steve couldn't direct anymore.
I think there comes a time when you've done all that you can do, or just get to the point where it's so much work that you have other priorities. In my case, that really was the case. I started having a family late in life. And I just got to the point where I couldn't be there every Wednesday night. And I guess I was part of the glue in the show.
But I believe Mark Lindy, the general manager of, what's this called? Brockton Community Access.
At one point, Ron's show had a leather lingerie fashion show.
We had people riding in motorcycles onto the stage. We had naked women on the show. I don't know how we got away with that.
I don't know if I need to elaborate any more than that, but I heard about it all the way in Foxborough.
So that was very interesting. And yeah, when the theme music played and we had to do it the third time, which is what we always had to do.
I haven't seen many of you in 10, 15 years. It's been a long, we haven't done the show in 6 years, and we did it for 20 years ahead of that, so it's been a while. So this is definitely the last one, believe me.
I tried to contact a lot of them, but they all said, yeah, let's just do one and put it to bed properly.
Oh, hello. This is Couch. I love it. Oh my goodness, hello. So good to see you. Good to see you, Rachel.
So,
hello. Love it. Where's the monitor? Oh, love it. Hello.
They say that you can't go home again. They say that when you revisit something that was special at one time, especially after the passage of time, it's never the same. In this case, it was.
In order to put a production on, you need people and you need involvement and you need ideas crashing back and forth. You have to do it differently.
We don't really have an entertainment variety show right now. I would love to see somebody else, pick up where Ron left off and do even one of the elements of that show so we can, educate, inform, and entertain.
Access is not sitting in 2 chairs with a FICA. Access is a group of people getting together to do a project, to put a production together. And the real love and feeling of public access is the achievement of the marriage of all those people and all those ideas in order to create a fine product. That's what access is. And I hope you tell that to your children someday if you can have them.